Hello, welcome to my presentation. My name is Absalom Fonseca and I will be talking about a smart room in a seaside resort or smart room technology. So let's jump right into it. Guests today don't book rooms, they book memories. And smart rooms with XR or extended reality give a new way to stage those memories. So think about personalized bedtime routine, adaptive lighting, adaptive climate, immersive previews activities. So you can see in the slide I have control, comfort, preview. All that will be given by this technology. So my thesis is that smart rooms create real value when they reduce friction and raise perceived uniqueness, but only if complexity and privacy risk are kept lower than the wow factor. So in other words, success will only happen when guests can use it and trust it without effort. Why this matters today? Well, there's certain advantages. It makes stays easier. So imagine, as you see on the screen, a good night, one tap button that will set up the whole room, will change the settings of the whole room. Fewer calls to reception. It will make the resort or the hotel stand out. It can grow revenue, as you see in the preview. It can help you upsell activities, upsell rooms, upsell packages. It can also cut waste. So imagine having a smarter HVAC system that can sense occupancy and can adjust energy consumption based on that. And of course, all this has to be in a way that builds trust. So privacy, GDPR, having the possibility of muting the mic, for example, all this will be advantages to it. So basically, if we look at the service blueprint, so we have front end and back end. So the front end will be the guest interacting with either an app or a voice control tool or service. And then this app or this voice control tool will interact with the local IoT gateway. And then on the back end, we'll have the possibility of, as I said, managing lights, blinds, climate, entertainment system, etc. This will integrate with the PMS and CRM that will manage the identity and the offers. Monitoring for uptime and alerts, and of course, security. And if anything breaks, then the default will be what I like to call graceful degradation, meaning that manual controls will still work, will still be available. So you always have, let's say, plan B in case the technology doesn't work. So I use 3 academic models. As you can see there, strategic canvas and ERRC, TAM, and Porter's 5 forces. So let's start with the first one. So let me just maybe move myself out of here for the time being. So strategic canvas, we compare standard rooms with a smart XR room across 8 factors. So the big lifts we target are convenience, comfort control, personalization, perceived uniqueness, and upsellability. There are 2 guardrails so that must happen. So one is we cannot raise maintenance complexity. We need to make sure that this doesn't add extra work to either the staff or the guests. And we must raise privacy assurance and accessibility. So these are key. When you have sensors, when you have voice control, you need to make sure that privacy is very high, and accessibility, obviously, if it's hard to use, then the guests won't use it, then it will be there will be no point on having this technology. On the ERRC, so the idea will be we eliminate paper directories or paper trails, we eliminate cryptic thermostat or cryptic controls in general. We reduce manual service calls for simple requests, so the idea is to reduce the number of calls to the helpline. We should raise one-tap scene, so the example before as the good night scene, in multiple languages, and privacy toggles, so visible privacy toggles to give trust to the guests. And we will need to create previews of activities, dynamic packages, upsells, echo scenes that save energy without the guest noticing. All that will be added with the technology. Model 2, so we use TAM. This one I think is really good an example because one of the key factors for this technology to work is that it's easy to use. So technology acceptance model, TAM, states that people adopt if two things are true. If it helps, so perceived usefulness, and if it's effortless or perceived ease of use. So in this case, the usefulness will be done by, will be demonstrated by having, for example, faster bedtime routine, one tap good night, or even faster entertainment. Let's say you want to watch a movie and you click a button and the scene, the whole room adapts to watching a movie, for example. Better planning via XR previews. So imagine you have augmented reality or virtual reality where you can see the activities that you can do the following days. You can see, maybe if you want to upgrade a room, you can actually see the room beforehand, or you can see packages that are available. Better sleep with auto climate, fewer calls to reception, ideally. Ease of use, so very important, defaults should just work. So you should have a system that where the user experience is the easiest as possible, the easiest to use. Clear, plain language in the guest language, so that will be a big plus. And for example, I mentioned before, an obvious mic off toggle with the status LED, so you know that you're not being, the system is not listening to you if you don't want it to listen to you. So all this builds trust and ease of use. And finally, the third model is Porter's 5 forces. So here we look at the 5 forces, so power suppliers. This I would say is medium to high. So if we look at from 1 to 10, I would say this is probably between 6 and 9. And the reason there's a range is because it will depend of certain things that I don't have full visibility on, but the idea will be to avoid lock-in on suppliers by insisting on open protocols and middleware, and by multi-sourcing critical components. Power of buyers, this one I think it's high, so probably a 9, even a 10, because the whole success of this rests on the user using it. If a user goes to a smart room and doesn't use the smart functionality, then he's simply having the experience of a standard room. So it will be completely useless. So, and guests will compare to what they have at home. So it must be easier than what they have at home. Should be simpler, faster, or simply they won't use it. So this is non-negotiable. Then legal barriers to entry. There's a lot of privacy, GDPR concerns, certifications, building, fire, electrical codes. Controls must be accessible. Pricing and upsells compliant, so careful of that, and vendors auditable. And finally, two more. Threat of new entrants. So hardware commoditizes quickly. So I would say this is a medium. Oh, sorry, I didn't mention up. Legal barriers to entry also I would say a medium, so 5, 6. Threat of new entrants. So hardware is commoditized quickly. So we cannot base solely on the access to hardware. So we need to, our defense has to be brand experience, reliability, data-driven personalization, not on the gadgets. And competitive rivalry. So tablets, smart switches, etc. are baseline features now. So again, we need to compete on trust, reliability, and unique XR content. So in conclusion, smart rooms, let me just go back here. Smart rooms with XR matter only when they make life easier, feel clearly safe, and deliver value. My approach will do exactly that. We differentiate with Blue Ocean tools, we approve adoption with TAM, and the 5 forces remind us that the mode isn't gadgets, it's experience, quality, trust, and execution. Success depends, as I noted here, in 3 non-negotiables. Convenience first. So for example, the one-tap scenes, redundant controls, defaults to just work. Trust by design, visible mic, cam controls, consent in plain language, accessible interfaces. And operational discipline, so monitoring clear incident ownership and room level benefits tracking. The goal is a dependable, privacy respecting guest experience that creates memorable stays and measurable returns. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you like the presentation.